In the days before Harvey, thousands of Mexican free-tailed bats filled the night sky over Buffalo Bayou in Houston. In the days before Harvey, thousands of Mexican free-tailed bats filled the night sky over Buffalo Bayou in Houston. Photo: DIANE HUMES Before Harvey. Hundreds of thorusands of Mexican free-tailed bats lived under the Waugh Drive bridge. Before Harvey, hundreds of thorusands of Mexican free-tailed bats lived under the Waugh Drive bridge. Photo: Nick de la Torre. Staff: The sun sets over Houston at the Waugh Street Bridge with a few surviving bats flying out, hours after the final rains from Tropical Storm Harvey subsided earlier in the day Tuesday, August 29, 2017, in Houston. Karen Warren, Houston Chronicle. Thus the sun sets over Houston at the Waugh Street Bridge with a few surviving bats flying out, hours after the final rains from Tropical Storm Harvey subsided earlier in the day Tuesday, August 29, 2017, in Houston. More photo: Karen Warren. Staff photographer. Tens of thousands of bats perished or were displaced from their home at the Waugh Bat Colony when Hurricane Harvey swept through the city this summer, according to bat experts. Pre-Harvey, we had at least 300,000 bats in the bridge, said Diana Foss, a wildlife biologist with the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department, and coordinator of the Houston area bat team. But the emergence at Waugh right now is kind of depressingly lower than that, she continued, describing the daily flood of bats from beneath the bridge at Allen Parkway and Waugh Drive, during which bats emerge en masse at twilight to hunt for food. What I'm seeing is, about half the bats are emerging. When the hurricane dropped more than 50 inches of rain on the city, the bayou's water downtown surged to record levels. For the first time since the bats took up residence in the cracks beneath the Waugh overpass, the elevated highway was submerged. Bats lacked the 15 feet of clearance they need to drop down from their roosts and take to the sky. Their plight didn't go unnoticed. Residents tried to save the bats, hanging off the bridge and ding them from the water as they rushed by. But it wasn't a perfect science. There are some dead bats up in the bridge. We can see them, their little bodies, and it's incredibly sad, Foss said. But there are, thanky, still living bats up in the bridge. And they're using crevices that don't have the dead bats in them. Some of the surviving bats have relocated to nearby buildings. Just take a sniff in any of the multi-floored parking garages lining the streets around the bayou, and you'll smell their pungent droppings. But months after Harvey, researchers still have more questions than answers about the long-term effects the storm will have on the city's bat population. Now the issue is, where are they? Foss said. In the days and weeks after the storm, residents noticed a new pattern in the sky during the bats' evening emergence. In addition to a swarm of winged mammals flying out from beneath the bridge, smaller populations exit from nearby buildings. They join up with the bats from the bridge during their hunt, then return to their new homes for the night, before repeating the same cycle the next day. Whether these displaced bats will return to their former home under the bridge isn't yet known, said Cullen Geiselman, a member of the local bat team, who earned her doctorate studying bats. I guess they could have moved on, she said. We've played with some ideas and haven't gotten very far. Understanding the scale of the loss is further complicated by the fact that bat populations ebb and flow seasonally. Typically, there are more bats at Waugh in the summer, when the Mexican free-tailed bats use the area as a maternity ward for their young. Numbers dwindle in the winter as some bats stay and some migrate. They're waiting to do the counts at a time when they've done the same count in previous years, Geiselman said. That will show us how much of the difference we see now is because of timing in the year. Long an advocate for a misunderstood species, Geiselman was floored by the outpouring of support and concern from Houstonians regarding the bats after the hurricane. Right after the storm, almost everyone I saw, the first questions were, "How are you? Did you flood?" And the next question was, "How are the bats?" she said. It showed me that a lot of people really care about these bats. And it's great that Houstonians, even in the time of crisis, are interested, and these bats are something we feel we own and enjoy collectively. While there hasn't yet been a formal census taken, Geiselman is inclined to agree with Foss, that the number of bats is at about half what she would expect. Let's hope what they find is more promising and not such a decrease, she said. If the losses are as bad as experts fear, it will be a slow, steady crawl back to peak population. Mexican free-tailed bats reproduce slowly. Each year, each female only gives birth to one pup, and hope that one pup survives to replace her, Foss said. They live maybe 15 years or so it will be a slow process to try and rebuild that population. Still, there's hope. There's anecdotal evidence that female bats go back to the cave where they were born, Geiselman said. This means that come next summer, a large number of the surviving bats, including those that have been displaced, could very well return to the Waugh Bridge to roost. I hate that I can't tell people exactly what's going to happen with the colony, or how many perished, Geiselman said. But I hope we'll have a sense of that very soon.